How ruining my granddaughter's wedding led me to discover the NeuroCalm switch that could help you fall asleep 4 times faster. This breakthrough shuts off racing thoughts before bed, so you're out like a light in minutes and sleep through the night regardless of how stressful your day's been. Hey, my name is Shelley Gleason. Today I'm going to share how the awful embarrassment of my husband falling asleep and snoring in the front row of our granddaughter's wedding led me to discover a sleep breakthrough that could help you doze off 4 times faster, without pills, nighttime teas, or avoiding caffeine. See, a few months ago, we were at our gorgeous granddaughter's wedding and she just walked down the aisle. To say we were proud would be an understatement. But our pride turned to ash because before he could stop it, my husband Frank nodded off and started snoring during her vows, and our granddaughter went from beaming with joy to having angry tears stream down her cheeks. To think he went from leading 36-hour special ops missions in the most dangerous jungles across the globe as a Navy SEAL, to now feeling like some worn-out geezer who let down his favorite person in the world on a day she was supposed to cherish the rest of her life. He felt humiliated, and it killed me to watch him get reduced to a shadow of his former self. How'd he wind up in this situation? You know how it goes. Some nights are good, and some days you can't calm your racing mind. And after a while, it catches up to you when you least expect it. Sitting in the chapel, it tore me up to know our granddaughter had dreamed of this day for the past 20 years. We'd even acted it out in the backyard when she was a girl. And now, Frank ruined her special day because he couldn't stay up for another 5 minutes. But although his poor sleep nearly destroyed his relationship with my little darling forever, I'm grateful for it, because that moment sparked a relentless search to help my husband until I tracked down an amazing doctor with a nearly endless knowledge about sleep habits, who showed me a breakthrough way to naturally fall asleep and stay asleep every single night. In a moment, I'll reveal how this new breakthrough works, how a cutting-edge set of studies prove it's unlike anything before it, and how you can use it to drift off in minutes and sleep like a stone all night long, without popping a single pill or potion. See, it's based on a game-changing discovery from Harvard Medical School's top sleep scientists. A NeuroCalm switch recently uncovered in the brain that's so powerful, researchers identified a second sleep node in the mammalian brain. Astonishingly, the activity within that node has been deemed both necessary and sufficient to produce a deep, fulfilling sleep. Because once activated, like a light switch, it turns off racing thoughts and occasional anxiousness before bed, so you fall asleep 4 times faster, sleep through the night uninterrupted, and wake up refreshed, rejuvenated, and re-energized to tear through today's hectic world. Better yet, this revolutionary solution is safe, non-habit forming, and backed by airtight research from the National Institute of Health, the University of Buffalo, and the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine. And it's already given restless Americans just like you their sleep and their life back. I noticed a difference the first night. Instead of feeling like my mind was racing, I felt more relaxed. I was able to wind down without getting that feeling that I needed to start watching TV or do something to preoccupy myself. And best of all, I fell asleep. The next morning I felt clear and rested. Charlie M., Los Angeles, California. I don't have to rely on the TV to fall asleep anymore. I sleep through the night without waking up. My husband uses it too and swears by it. Janet W., Delray Beach, Florida. I've tried everything, including more potent strengths of melatonin. When I take this, I relax, And I know that when I fall asleep, I will stay asleep until morning. No waking up at 4 a.m. and lying there for hours anymore. Robert D., Akron, Ohio. Today I reveal how you can join them and flip your neuro-calm switch for a deep, blissful night's sleep every night. Without disappointing products that only get you more in your own head. Without nighttime teas that make you pee every hour. And without avoiding electronics at night. An unreasonable ask for folks like us living in the real world. I'll put it like this. If this breakthrough worked wonders for a Navy SEAL like my husband with flashbacks that would twist your insides, imagine what it could do for you. All I ask is you give me a few minutes to walk you through how my husband had a rock-bottom moment at our granddaughter's wedding, helped uncover a new and unique solution that'll help you support your natural sleep cycle so you can sleep like a baby in no time, and leap from your bed feeling like $1,000,000 again. My name is Shelley Gleason. I'm 72 years old. I live in Cottonwood Falls, a tiny town about 2 hours west of Kansas City. And my husband Frank and I lived on 13 acres of farmland for the past 3 decades. Although we've likely never met, I'd bet you and Frank have a lot more in common than you'd expect. See, he's always been a restless sleeper. He tells me the same story every morning, if he's not tossing and turning for what seems like an eternity every night, worried over tomorrow's mountain of a to-do list. Sometimes he's waking up every hour. And on days when he runs himself ragged with a long day of greasing the tractors, feeding the cattle, and inspecting crops by hand, he might fall asleep right away. But honest to God, almost every time 3:15 a.m. hits, he's wide awake and obsessing over the time until his alarm clock forces him out of bed. All things considered, occasionally having 4 hours of in-and-out sleep was a win in his book. Yet even when he'd get it, I could tell he'd beat himself up for it in the morning, as if he asked to be this way. Maybe you've been there, sometimes feeling wide awake before bed. It feels like your brain is playing ping pong with your thoughts. So you don't get a lick of sleep. The next day you're so exhausted that even thinking about sleep and not getting it shoots your stress even higher. And maybe that same night, when you're supposed to be dozing off so your body can heal itself like every other normal person, you might even still be a bit wound up, so it seems harder to fall asleep. It doesn't matter if it's a deadline you have to meet, a petty argument from earlier in the day that you can't seem to shake, or fretting over financial and health concerns that comes with living in 2024. The bottom line for people like you and Frank? Anything, no matter how big or small, will keep you from getting the sleep you deserve. Today, I'll prove that those occasional sleepless nights aren't your fault, and I'll share an easy and I feel a reliable way to fix it for those special occasions where you want to feel rested and alert when you wake up, without a single pill. Because if the Lord above had him hit my lowest point in front of everyone we know and love at my granddaughter's wedding, just so I could uncover the true root cause of sleepless nights as a way to help him, and a surefire solution to help you break free from a stressful day and sleep like a rock again. A neuro-calm switch now validated by chief researchers from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. It was all worth it. If you'd like to knock out in minutes, stay asleep all night long, and spring from bed with that go-get-'em feeling you had as a 25-year-old, it starts with taking you back in time. The night before our granddaughter's wedding was like any other. Frank told me he watched the ceiling fan for hours, his mind racing 1,000,000 miles a minute. It was 2:07 a.m. He'd been in bed for 3 to 4 hours, mulling over what tomorrow would be like, whether his dress shoes were shined, who'd be there, and if the inside jokes he sprinkled throughout his speech would land. Meanwhile, I slept like a bear. And listen, I hope you understand when I tell you that he wasn't angry with me, but he was visibly upset how his sleep was so unpredictable, and that today, of all days, it had to rear its ugly head. Yet I was the type of person who could sleep anywhere, anytime, and not even a train smashing through our bedroom could wake me. It all seemed so unfair to him, you know? I get it. That night, he resolved to get out of bed, drag himself into the living room, and write his speech on some note cards. Fast forward to the wedding ceremony, and my husband and I sat front and center, holding hands as our pumpkin recited her vows. Yet he couldn't hear a word of my granddaughter's vows because all he could focus on was not letting his heavy eyelids snap shut. The last thing he tells me he remembers was taking one long, satisfying blink, the type that, if you're drained, feels like heaven. Then being jerked awake by me whispering, "Wake up," through clenched teeth. He couldn't help but shout, and the entire congregation fell silent. From there, our world crumbled. Out of the corner of my left eye, I watched my granddaughter's mascara run down her face as she escaped from the altar. Out of the corner of my right eye, I saw guests that filmed the ceremony turn their iPhones toward us. And I knew we'd be the laughingstock of Twitter by morning. Frank looked shell-shocked, to the point of having a 1,000-yard stare. He was my rock, the strongest man I'd ever known, yet I could tell he didn't care where, how, or what it took. He wanted to disappear. The pastor then called an intermission and explained that, due to unforeseen circumstances, they'd start the ceremony over in an hour. Needless to say, it was the longest hour of our life. Frank sat there, desperately searching for any words that could explain to our granddaughter how ashamed and sorry he was. During the wedding reception, he mustered up the courage to walk to the newlywed table and try to apologize. No, don't. I know you didn't mean it, but I just don't want to talk about it right now," my granddaughter spurted out before he could get a word in. Her words hurled into him like a javelin to the heart. But you know what? He understood. It was the biggest day of her life, a day she'd been dreaming about for 2 decades, and he soiled it, even though it wasn't his fault. He walked back to our table, sat down, and explained what had just happened to him. "Look, Frank, I'm here for you, honey, but if she doesn't want to talk to you, you have to respect that. Get some sleep, and you can talk to her in the morning." The words, "get some sleep," slipped out before I could even register the damage they could do. So with a heavy heart, he ripped up the wedding speech note cards he'd prepared and sat in silence the rest of the wedding. It crushed me to witness. But if our granddaughter didn't want to talk to him, how could he give a speech in front of hundreds? I vowed right then and there that I would do everything in my power to find something that could support him on those particularly frustrating nights, when falling asleep was a challenge for him, and somehow make it up to our granddaughter. The next day, I started Frank on all the sleep basics, the wind-down routines you and I have both rolled our eyes at. I got him a memory foam mattress and pillow, sleep masks, blackout curtains that turned our bedroom into a cave that I needed a flashlight to navigate, relaxation candles, hot showers, yoga, deep breathing, zero caffeine, dark chocolate, or soda pop. Avoided the TV, our phones, and other electronics like the plague once 8 p.m. rolled around. We were in this together. I even had him once physically exhaust himself and stay up for more than 24 hours so natural sleep could kick in. But it was just hit or miss, and we would still have those occasional restless nights. We were running out of ideas, so I did what anyone else in my position would do. I went online to search for answers. I scoured online forums, Facebook groups, and watched hour-long webinars from sleep experts. I read blogs that spoke highly of nighttime teas, but those just woke him up to pee. I was starting to lose hope, because listen to this. According to the National Institute of Health, poor sleep is so devastating to the body, it can result in poor heart health, blue moods, and even weight gain. Great, I thought, another worry to add to our list. So I scheduled him an appointment with my doctor, and he tried everything you could think of, including enough melatonin to tranquilize an elephant. After months of experimenting, I still wasn't any closer to a sustainable sleep solution that would help Frank get a good night's sleep. Worst of all, he still hadn't reconciled with our granddaughter. That's when a chance phone call from an old friend changed everything. See, every 6 months or so, a former coworker of mine, Frances, and I catch up. But I'd been so preoccupied with my sleep research for Frank, and so down in the dumps about it still not getting him anywhere, I forgot it was my turn to call. Thankfully, Frances rung me out of the blue to see if everything was okay. On the call, I shared what happened at my granddaughter's wedding, how Frank had still been reeling from the whole fiasco, and that he still had those occasional sleepless nights, and it only reminded him of it. That's when she mentioned a doctor that helped her take the edge off for some of the best sleep of her life. Better than any glass of wine, and without downing a single pill. Little did I know it's the same doctor who'd give me my first glance into how the neuro-calm switch worked, and help Frank and many other restless folks just like you get a better night's sleep, to wake up well-rested and ready to rock. His name is Dr. Al Sears, M.D. He's the Director and Chief Medical Officer of the Sears Institute of Anti-Aging in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. But he isn't your average doctor. He specializes in natural solutions for challenges just like Frank's. After seeing his pioneering methods had been featured on CNN, ABC News, ESPN, I knew that if there was anyone who'd have answers to how to consistently get a good night's sleep, it'd be Dr. Sears. But when I calculated the costs of a flight from Kansas to Florida, a hotel room, and whatever state-of-the-art treatment he'd likely recommend, I couldn't stomach it. And I told myself I'd keep looking, keep tinkering away, keep testing remedies I found online. That same evening, after a grueling day of research on my computer, I walked into the kitchen to grab a bite to eat and rung my granddaughter to see how she was doing. Frank's ears perked up the second he heard us giggling. It had been months since he heard her voice. So seeing she was in good spirits gave him the glimmer of hope he'd been praying for all this time. He ran across the room with a childish grin, grabbed the phone out of my hands, and got on the line. "Hey, sweetheart, I wanted to say I miss you, and I hope you had a great honeymoon." What my granddaughter replied with, however, I'll never forget. "The honeymoon was wonderful. I would have called, but I thought you'd be napping or something," she remarked with a chuckle. It sounded harmless, but deep in my soul, I knew she was still angry with him. Months had passed since the wedding, yet his jaw couldn't help but clench as he muffled, I have a bit of work to do. I'll call you later," and then gave the phone back to me. I thought giving him some time and space would help him get over the shame of snoring at her wedding. I was wrong. I'd never seen him so defeated than that very moment. That night, after hours of replaying her joke in my head, I snuck out of bed, fumed my way to the computer, and booked my flight, hotel, and office visit with Dr. Sears. I had a feeling he would be the one to finally have the answer we were looking for. Over the next 2 months, I couldn't wait for my appointment to come. When I got to Dr. Sears' office in Florida, I could tell he was different than the rest of the doctors I'd seen. He listened, actually listened, to where I was coming from. He asked thoughtful questions. He took notes. He spent more time than any doctor previously had on an initial visit and didn't reach for his prescription pad once. The real surprise? When I asked why Frank would still have sleepless nights from time to time, he didn't give me the whole rigmarole of how sleep declines with age and there's nothing we can do about it. Instead, he leaned across his desk, cut to the chase, and shared what could support a good night's sleep and why it would work. He said, "Shelley, I'm glad you came in when you did, because I've been testing a new and natural sleep solution that works like gangbusters." To understand how it works, do you remember reading about GABA? I nodded. I remember GABA, and how it was a chemical messenger inside the brain that helped turn off racing thoughts before bed. Well, the reason you've heard about GABA is because it really is the king of deep sleep, he continued. But if you tried taking GABA supplements and got nothing out of it, that's not what I'm going to suggest you do. He went on to explain that inside your brain, there's a tug of war between two chemical messengers and the receptors and synapse pathways. And the winner decides whether you sleep or toss and turn into the wee hours. The first you just heard about, GABA. The second is glutamate. See, during wakeful hours, glutamate helps make your brain fired up and focused. In the evening, GABA takes over and slows that racing mind to a halt, allowing you to calm down, unplug from your day, and fall into a renewing night of sleep. In other words, as leading researchers from the Journal of Neuroscience suggest, both GABA and glutamate work in harmony to make sure you're on when you need to be during your workday, and you're off like a switch when you need to sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping right now because of an overactive mind, chances are it means glutamate is running rampant while you're trying to sleep. As a result, GABA can't do its job of calming, relaxing, and lulling your mind away. So you lay there wide awake, rifling through worry after worry, and don't get the restorative sleep you deserve. Which is why I'm so excited you came in today, of all days. Dr. Sears pressed on. He explained that the issue is that up until recently, science didn't have an effective way to increase GABA in the brain, or a way to naturally support the receptors related to sleep. That includes the GABA supplements on Amazon or at your local grocery store. In fact, according to 9 independent studies from Frontiers in Psychology, most GABA supplements don't fully cross the blood-brain barrier, which is just a fancy way of saying GABA doesn't get to your brain, meaning a supplemental form of GABA does nothing but break the bank and keep you tossing and turning. That's when Dr. Sears explained that on a recent trip to Nepal, he uncovered a little-known fruit that helped set the stage for a peaceful night's sleep and calmness, especially as life's hectic pace doesn't slow down with age. Dr. Sears' findings are echoed by a study published in Frontiers in Pharmacology. The study revealed that this little fruit positively influences specific brain receptors known as the GABA and 5-HT receptors, making it easier to sleep well and feel relaxed. Unlike synthetic GABA supplements, this discovery naturally aids in managing the brain's calm and sleep pathways, without the hurdle of crossing the blood-brain barrier. Because instead of bombarding your gut with GABA, praying to the high heavens that it reaches your brain, this unique fruit acts in such a way that it helps the receptor sites in the brain that deal with feeling calm and getting a good night's sleep, which is key to help your brain slow down, leave even the longest of days behind you, and enjoy an incredible night's rest. So you're ready to rock in the morning. The fruit he held up between his index finger and thumb is called jujube. When he shared the groundbreaking sleep science behind jujube, I nearly fell out of my seat. As he explained in a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, which is the gold standard of clinical science, researchers from one of the most prestigious medical institutes in China took 90 men and women who wanted quality sleep support, then split them into two groups. The first got jujube, the other got a placebo, a sugar pill. Both groups were then put through 7 different tests that measured how fast they fell asleep, how long they stayed asleep, and how much energy they had in the morning. From the jujube group, they reported sleeping significantly deeper, longer, with nearly unlimited energy to boot. But that's just one study, isn't it? I questioned. And he shot back, that's the start. He went on to explain that leading researchers from Planta Medical Journal duplicated those results, and in the process, uncovered something spectacular. These researchers found that jujube helped give participants in the second study a sense of calm and relaxation. That part they expected. What the stunned researchers didn't expect to find, however, is how jujube was able to knock you out at night. Digging deeper, they realized it was because jujube helped limit glutamate in the brain, and like a light switch, naturally helped turn GABA on, which made this fruit the one and only solution to a problem that's puzzled sleep researchers for decades. Pretty cool, right? Dr. Sears said, once I saw how it worked in the body, I started testing, retesting, and perfecting a new sleep formula with jujube as the centerpiece. He took a spray bottle out from his desk drawer and slid it across the table, and continued to say that he put it in an oral spray because the science was clear. Sprays work up to 4 times faster than capsules, liquids, tablets, you name it. So he told me to take the sample home and asked me to let him know how Frank starts feeling. I put the bottle in my pocket, thanking him for his help, and left his office. Skeptical, but hopeful. That night I got home from my flight, and before I could even unpack, I begged Frank to just try it for nearly an hour. When he finally did, he told me he felt a wave of serenity wash over his body that he hadn't felt in years. All it took was 3 quick sprays under his tongue. There was virtually no taste, no chalky residue, and within minutes, hand to God, he says the gears in his head started to halt. That little voice in the back of my head that normally screams at him for not getting everything done on my to-do list, that replays conversations from earlier that day, that worries me sick over things he couldn't control even if he wanted to. It was gone. The thing is, though, he said he didn't feel drowsy. He just felt at peace. That night, he fell asleep within 20 minutes. I could tell because he started snoring minutes after his head hit the pillow. He slept through the night, and the next thing he knew, it was morning. He had slept a solid 7.5 hours, and he told me he felt eager to get his day started. He was practically frolicking his way to the bathroom to brush his teeth. And most importantly, he stuck with it. For several weeks even. During that time, he found those occasional sleepless nights seemed to disappear. And now all he had to do was prove it to my granddaughter. See, Frank wanted to show her that he made amends, that he had something to show for all the pain and turmoil he caused her. So after a month of using Dr. Sears' new sleep spray and getting the best sleep of his life with it, he set up a lunch date with our granddaughter at our favorite diner, Chuck's Wagon Cafe. When we got there, she was sitting in the same booth we always sat at, sipping on a mug of coffee. Next to her, a second and third cup, which I presumed was for us. We walked over, sat down, and we talked for hours. He explained everything to her, what happened the night before her wedding, why he had taken so long to apologize, and he told her all about our visit with Dr. Sears. "I'm sorry for everything, honey. Forgive me?" She slid over to his side of the booth, hugged him, and that single moment made my entire journey worth it. She added that he seemed happier, more alive, and that the bags under his eyes were now gone. What's funny is she even asked if he was doing anything special since he looked like he was in better shape. He must have slimmed down from the morning jogs he'd been taking, courtesy of the energy he'd been waking up with. "Are you not going to have any of your coffee?" she asked him as we finished up. And he shot back with, "Your granddad doesn't need it anymore." And we laughed all the way to our cars at how silly this all was in retrospect. I'm also happy to report that they have a 2-hour hike next week. Just him and our pumpkin, like old times. Something that I didn't think would be possible. But after the wedding incident, he's feeling and living even better. When I called Dr. Sears to give him an update on how Frank had been feeling and share how grateful we were, I told him we needed to get this sleep formula out into the world, into the hands of deserving folks like you. To my surprise, he explained that since giving me the original formula, he added a few new ingredients, taking the formula's sleep-granting powers to the next level. I even named it Native Rest, he said. And the rave reviews from folks now sleeping tighter with Native Rest's new and improved formula speak for themselves. Victoria K. from Santa Fe, New Mexico said, "My husband and I have tried several sleep supplements, and Native Rest far surpasses anything else we have tried. It also allows us to drop into a deep, soothing sleep without any after effects or drowsiness in the morning. We absolutely love it." And Harold H. from Rohnert Park, California said, "All I can say is it works. Best sleep and rest I've had in years." Another believer, James G. from Wellington, Florida, explained, "I was under a lot of stress and was waking up at 3:30 in the morning every night. I couldn't make it stop, and I couldn't get back to sleep no matter what I tried. But after taking Native Rest, all that changed. I feel like my sleep cycle is back to normal, and I'm just not worried about falling to sleep anymore." Today, I'd like you to join us for your own soothing night's sleep, without a single pill, to wake up feeling rested, excited, and, well, like your younger self again. And Dr. Sears is so confident you'll get the best sleep of your life with Native Rest by your side. He wants you to be able to try it today without risking a dime. Are you ready? Introducing your one-stop sleep solution, Native Rest. Claim the best deal and get the greatest savings, free shipping, and a free gift. If you want to quiet a racing mind, fall asleep in minutes and stay asleep all night long, and wake up with boundless energy, Native Rest is how it's done. The natural sleep breakthrough you and I have prayed for all this time. Native Rest is specifically formulated to flip your neuro-calm switch, help your brain dampen the effects of glutamate on GABA receptors, so that you can transition into a state of relaxation and serenity and sleep soundly even after you've had the craziest of days. Native Rest has 0 fillers, soy, artificial coloring, dairy, or heavy metals. It's fully compliant with GMP safety standards, fits most dietary restrictions, non-habit forming, and best of all, has 0 side effects, with no grogginess in the morning. Which means no matter how fast your mind churns at night, if you've never been a great sleeper, or if you've fought with fatigue as a result your whole life, I guarantee Native Rest will work for you. Remember, all it takes is 3 sprays under the tongue before bed. That's it. Almost immediately, you'll feel the gears in your mind slow. You'll melt into your pillow, and you'll sleep tight for 6, 7, even 8 revitalizing hours at a time. In the morning, all I'll say is watch out, world, because having a great night's sleep just makes you feel like new. And you know exactly what I mean. That's how restorative Native Rest is, and how much a top-to-bottom upgrade the great sleep that comes with it can give you. I know it's possible because my husband's living proof. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that regardless of what curveball our insane world throws my way, the one thing I can actually control that makes all the difference? Every night, Frank gets his 7.5 hours. Today, I'd like you to join us, along with the tens of thousands of well-rested native rest customers, to experience what even a single night of deep, blissful sleep can do for you. Because let me tell you, when your sleep is dialed in, every other area of your life falls into place. But first, allow me to share why its next-generation formula really is in a league of its own. It starts with the main ingredient, sleep-enhancing super nutrient number 1, jujube fruit extract. Like I mentioned, jujube fruit is a huge breakthrough in sleep science. But as Dr. Sears explained, it gets even better. See, jujube is grown in the pristine, untouched mountaintops of southern Asia, and it's been used since 9000 BC in traditional Chinese medicine to help soothe frazzled nerves, calm the mind, and increase sleep. For thousands of years, we didn't know how it worked, just that it did. Today, thanks to the 6 bright sleep scientists in Japan, we have an answer. They uncovered that jujube contained a nutrient called sanjoinine A. Don't worry about pronouncing it. All you need to know is when you ingest it, sanjoinine A supports the receptor sites associated with sleep and GABA, promoting a great night's sleep. Sanjoinine A has been observed to have sedative and sleep-enhancing effects, potentially aiding in promoting a sense of calm and supporting a restful night's sleep. All this to say, jujube is native rest's crown jewel ingredient for good reason. Picture it with me, taking a load off, crashing into your pillow. The next thing you know, it's morning, and you feel rested, ready to tackle whatever's on your plate that day. The jujube inside native rest can help make that a reality. And all it took was 3 quick sprays of native rest. But we're just getting started. Sleep-enhancing super nutrient number 2, Jamaican dogwood. Jamaican dogwood looks like regular old tree bark, but its ability to support restful sleep is off the charts. Want to hear something funny? Jamaican dogwood was first used in 1844 by Native Americans in the West Indies to fish. You read that right, to catch fish, because fishermen would rip up the bark and throw it into the river. After about 15 minutes, fish pop up to the surface. But they're not dead. They're relaxed. So relaxed, in fact, that the fishermen then scoop the fish up with their hands. And according to a group of esteemed Italian researchers, it has the ability to support a relaxed and stress-free mind, which can help you fall asleep when you need it most, fast. In a follow-up study from the same group, they suggested that Jamaican dogwood helps you feel more. That's important because, as Dr. Sears explained, having a relaxed mind and body is key to supporting high GABA levels, which makes Jamaican dogwood and jujube fruit the perfect 1-2 punch to fall asleep, stay asleep, and fire on all cylinders come morning. Mix it with the next 2 ingredients inside native rest, and you really have something special. Sleep-enhancing super nutrient number 3 and 4, selenium and zinc. Now, I'm sure you've heard about selenium and zinc and how they're important minerals for immunity, but they're also involved in the sleep cycle. See, in the case of selenium, it carries something called selenoproteins that help support natural GABA production in the brain. The Journal of Inorganic Biochemistry proves it. The problem is you'd have to eat countless fistfuls of Brazil nuts every day to get the same amount of selenium inside native rest. But the real magic happens when its partner zinc comes into the picture. Believe it or not, zinc is also involved in the brain's sleep process, and for a reason that researchers only now fully understand. According to leading sleep scientists from the Journal of Neuroscience Research, zinc helps promote steady, balanced GABA levels in your brain, so you sleep longer, better every night, like clockwork, and wake up feeling rejuvenated, which is why you'll find healthy sleep-promoting amounts of selenium and zinc in each Native Rest spray. Can you believe it gets better than this? Sleep-enhancing super nutrient number 5, melatonin, but not the type of melatonin you're used to. Of course, no sleep formula would be complete without melatonin. While I could sit here and walk you through the thousands of published studies that studied melatonin and sleep, tell you about how as you get older your body's natural levels of melatonin dwindle. But I'm not going to waste either of our time. We can agree that melatonin, the right amounts, is magic for falling asleep. But here's where most people get it wrong. If you haven't felt the melatonin sleep miracle that everyone shouts from the mountaintops about, or maybe you feel it a bit too much and wake up groggy, in both cases, you're taking too much melatonin. What? Too much? That's what I thought too, until Dr. Sears walked me through the science. See, according to a double-blind, placebo-controlled study from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, you only need 0.3 milligrams for the sleep-inducing benefits of melatonin to kick in. Yet what most people do, and don't worry, I made the same mistake, is down up to 5 milligrams at a time. That's over 16 times what's recommended. It's no wonder that taking melatonin the traditional way leaves you either dazed or stops working after a while. But now with Native Rest, you can rest easy knowing you're getting a clinically backed helping of melatonin, along with a handful of soothing supernutrients that work hand in hand with each other, so you can support elevated GABA levels for an incredible night's sleep, day after day, month after month, year after year. Because added up, a Native Rest grants you not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5 powerhouse ingredients that work in tandem to help promote optimal GABA levels so you get the sleep you deserve and ensure you awaken clear-headed and calm, knowing that whatever happens in the world, you'll get the sleep you need to run right through it. Given that, why would you use anything but Native Rest for your sleep needs? If you'd like to experience what a peaceful night's sleep could do for you, I urge you to not let this opportunity pass you by. Because you can't find Native Rest's one-of-a-kind formula anywhere else. Amazon doesn't carry it. Neither does Walmart, Target, or your local supermarket. This page, right here and now, is the only way to grab your risk-free spray bottle of Native Rest today. It'll stay that way, too, and I'll explain exactly why that is shortly. You can give your brain what it needs to help you unwind, shut down, and get a great night's sleep. No more brain fog, no more chaotic sleep patterns, no more beating yourself up in the morning for staring at the clock every hour on those occasional nights you can't wind down. Your entire Native Rest order is fully covered by Dr. Sears' ironclad 90-day money-back guarantee. The way it works is simple. Dr. Sears wants you to give Native Rest a test drive for the next 90 days. That's 3 months to witness the magic it can do for your sleep. Then you be the judge. Perhaps you notice yourself drifting off in just minutes instead of hours. You don't wake up a single time during the night. And best of all, you awaken in the morning with a new lease on life. If Native Rest doesn't give you all of that and more, you're protected by his ironclad 90-day money-back guarantee. You'll get a full refund, no questions asked. Down to the last penny. No hoops, no qualifications, no press 7 to wait on hold for hours. Dr. Sears believes that you shouldn't spend hard-earned money on a product that's not exceeding your wildest expectations. which means you risk nothing other than missing out. And although the option's there, something tells me once you feel the head-to-toe transformation that comes with great sleep, you'll be amazed at what you're truly capable of. If there's even a small part of you that wants to sleep like a kid on summer holiday again with native rest, here's what you have to do next. Click the button below to get started. Right next to it, you'll see different package options where you can grab more native rest spray bottles for less, to stock up for yourself or to use as a gift for a loved one. Here's why you'll want to. As the research suggests, you'll feel a noticeable shift in your sleep the very first night. That's what happened to me and thousands of others just like you. By the end of your first week, you'll wonder how you went so long without it. Because life's easier when you're not redlining all the time, tossing and turning with an occasional tidal wave of anxiety, and when you're actually getting the rest you know will change everything for you. By day 30, you're a new person. Your thinking will be sharp, your zest for life will hit new high levels, and that new pep in your step will be all the proof you'll need that native rest is working. Then the real fun begins. Wait until you see how downright incredible you feel at the 90-day mark. Around the 90-day mark is when most well-rested customers report a huge shift in their sleep schedule, their sleep quality, energy levels, their mood, even how others treat them. That's what happens when you give your body what it needs to rest, sleep, and repeat. Nothing is holding you back anymore, because remember, every night your body gets healthy levels of GABA, the easier it becomes to get a good night's sleep. And if you experience even half of what the clinical research shows is a great way to naturally support GABA levels and deep sleep, wouldn't you want to enjoy an incredible night's sleep every night for as long as you can? And wouldn't you want to do everything in your power to ensure those occasional sleepless nights don't come back to haunt you? In a few days from now, as native rest arrives at your doorstep, tear into it like a kid on Christmas. Take your first 3 sprays at night. Starting right away, you'll feel a gentle wave of relaxation, calmness, and zen-like serenity wash over your body, the way unwinding should be. And as the worries of the day slowly quiet and disappear, this, my friend, is how the rest of your night will go. In short, get ready for the best sleep of your life or your money back. You may not have asked for those occasional sleepless nights. Sometimes we get mad at ourselves for not figuring it out on our own. I get that. I've lived with that. And now that I'm on the other side, I can tell you one thing, that if you remember nothing else from today, just know that poor sleep isn't your fault. But moving forward, it is your responsibility to fix it. If not for yourself, for your loved ones. See, I've walked you through the incredible sleep science that backs native rest's relaxing ingredients. And I've convinced Dr. Sears into letting you try it at the lowest price in company history. Here's the last thing you'll want to know before grabbing your native rest spray bottles, and it's the most important thing of all. He's promised that native rest either gives you the best sleep of your life the night you try it, or you get a full refund, down to the last dime, which means you risk nothing other than suffering through another night of counting sheep. It's that simple. Ask yourself, why not give it a go? Click the button below now, and together with native rest, let's get you sleeping again. If for whatever reason, or no reason at all, you're not satisfied with native rest, you have Dr. Sears' promise that you can get a prompt refund of every dollar you paid. No questions asked. That way, you risk nothing. Thank you for your time today.